Hello, it's Gavin again from Lucid Computer Solutions. How you doing? So today I have another unboxing and first impressions video for you. And today it's going to be the Lenovo ThinkCentre M720Q and it's the Tiny Edition PC. So I have the item right here, and as the name implies, with it being a tiny PC, the box isn't much bigger than a laptop box, although this is a desktop PC. So shall we go ahead and see what we have here and talk about the spec and a few first impressions. So just going to remove the first box from the main box and just see what we've got in here. I strongly suspect it's going to be our mouse and power and stuff, but let's take a look together. So there we go. We have, by the looks of things, a small bracket for mounting the small PC, which we'll get to. We have our mouse. We have power. We have the aerial for the Wi-Fi, which this computer has. We'll go through the specs in a second. And then we will have our power brick for the PC itself, which looks to be the same power brick and connector as Lenovo laptops. So handy if you ever need spares. We've got some screws for, I would hazard a guess, for mounting or for the casing. And here we do indeed have a mounting bracket. So the reason this particular one comes with mounting brackets and them little bits is the PC is so small. The idea is you could mount it to the back of a monitor, for example, with the compatible screw holes and stuff. So you could do that where you get like, I don't think it would have to be a Lenovo screen, but it could be. And then you put these brackets on the back of the monitor and your PC goes in that, and it makes it almost like an all-in-one unit, but you've kind of done it yourself. Don't get me wrong, I know you can get all-in-one units, but it's just an alternative way of doing things. That's why we've got them extra accessories in the box. So what else do we have in the box? We of course have our keyboard, and we'll have a very quick look at this. Lenovo keyboards are always fairly strong, fairly decent, and this one, you know, standard Lenovo one really. This one looks to be one of their cheap and cheerful ones, to be brutally honest, because this PC itself doesn't cost a lot of money, and we'll get to the price in a second. And then finally in the box we have the PC itself. So you can see this, you know, the size of this computer is really small. I'm easily holding it with just the one hand there, so it really is ultra small. So let's take a look at it, and here it is. So, you know, like I said, I suppose in context with my hand, it's, you know, it is, as the description implies, the Lenovo ThinkCentre M720Q Tiny is indeed tiny, very thin, very light. So let's have a look at our connectivity options. So on the front here, what we have is a microphone jack, we have a headphone jack, we have USB Type-C and standard USB connection as well. So a nice, decent selection of ports on the front there. And then over on the rear, just so you can see everything, and then I'll quickly run through it. We have a VGA port for VGA monitor. We have a serial port. Remember them, serial port fans? And then along the bottom here we have our power connector. Like I said, that appears to be the same as Lenovo laptop standard yellow connector. We've got display port, we've got a USB port, we've got a HDMI port, and then we've got 3 USB ports. We have an Ethernet port, and this is where our wireless aerial will go, because this also has built-in Wi-Fi as well. So for a tiny PC like that, which I hold in my hand, that is a tremendous amount of connectivity, isn't it? I mean, the fact that you could potentially have 3 monitors there, VGA, DisplayPort and HDMI, isn't bad at all, is it? Connectivity wise, on the networking side, I like the fact it does have an Ethernet port, but also has Wi-Fi in it as well. I think that's really good. So for a small PC, the connectivity on this is is really, really good. That's excellent for such a small unit. That's great. So what do we have kind of hardware spec wise inside here? So as you can probably see here, what we're dealing with is an i3 8th generation processor. So it's an older processor in this. I would assume that this computer has been around for a year, 18 months, 2 years, who knows, I'm unsure. But the point is it has an older processor in it, which also might be why it's cheap, which we'll get to. This one just has 4 gig of RAM, which by today's standards isn't actually enough. So what we're doing with this, we're putting in another 4 gig of RAM to boost it up to 8 gig, which is your entry level bare minimum in my opinion. So out of the box, yes, this comes with 4 gigs, so bear that in mind. Depends what you want to use this for, but in my opinion, probably not enough. And then it has a 128 gigabyte SSD hard drive on it. So it's a nice ultra fast hard drive, but 128 gig isn't that much storage, is it? So when it comes to choosing this desktop computer, it's all about what you're going to use it for. So what we're using this for is actually for the particular customer who's going to be using this. They basically do most of their work inside what's something called a remote desktop session. And all that is where you're logging into a server and you're using the resources on the server. You're not using the local processing power of this computer. So because of that, they don't need that actual computer to be very high spec. And that is why we have selected this computer, which has an older i3 processor with the 4 gig of RAM. Granted, we are upgrading it to 8 gig, but likewise, the 128 gigabyte of storage isn't a problem for us because there's no local storage going on here. So in that use case scenario, the computer is perfect for that job. Overall, for your day-to-day users, this might not be high spec enough, so bear that in mind. But what's important always is thinking about what job you're trying to do and what solution you're trying to provide, and then find the best thing. So in this scenario, this was the best thing, which brings us to the price. So this one, again, prices fluctuate all the time, but at time of filming, this was around about £325, which is cheap, but also I would expect it, given it's an i3, 4 gig of RAM, I'd expect that. But what I would say is £325 for all of that connectivity, that's pretty good actually. So value wise, I actually think that it's decent. It's not exceptional because it's got that lower spec i3 processor, but it's still decent value, certainly for businesses to do particular jobs or for particular people or to run a presentation screen or something like that. I think from that perspective, it's good value. So it's all about context here, isn't it? So for around about £325, obviously you're getting a brand new machine, Lenovo branded. You're going to get the Lenovo warranty to cover you if anything goes wrong. So, and also it's just so small. If you've got space issues in your office or where you need your PC to go, this could be a really handy solution because it's so small. So there we go. Overall, the Lenovo ThinkCentre M720Q Tiny PC is a decent machine in the right scenario. So if this video has been useful in any way, shape or form, please do smash the like button. It really helps grow our channel, really helps spread the word about us. I'd really appreciate you giving me the thumbs up. Smash it. Go on, please. And likewise, feel free to comment on the video, give me some ideas, give me some thoughts, give me some recommendations for alternatives. Please do that in the comments section. I do read them and I do try and get back to everybody. And there are links down below to connect up with me on LinkedIn, Twitter and Instagram if you prefer those channels. So that's been me, Gavin from Lucid Computer Solutions, signing off with the Lenovo M720Q. See you next time. Bye-bye.